Welcome back, Sleepers of the Sands, to another scorching week of deep desert action. I'm Nerdbird, your personal cartographer of the Arrakis Dunes, and I've mapped out some truly incredible locations for us today. But before we brave the open desert, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone for fueling this journey. Every like, sub, and hype sends our signal deeper into the digital siege, helping us beat the algorithm storms. You are the best community in gaming, and I'm honored to be in the crew with you. Now let's find some spice. Now, before we get started on the maps, I would like to say I apologize for releasing the map late today. As I've stated multiple times on the streams, we will be releasing these maps a little bit later in the month of January due to the fact that I have real life obligations that I have to take care of. However, I will release the map. It is just going to be 2 or 3 hours later than usual. Looking at the deep desert map, we have one reigning champion of a place that you want to get out to before anyone else does, and that one central location is none other than our favorite E6. This little cluster of islands out here on E6 is going to be central for everybody to be setting up their base, as you will see here in a second. Starting off, as you can tell, there is a massive overload of medium spice fields here in the safe zone on the eastern side of the map. This is very, very heavy leaning to the east, so much so that you want to make sure that you are out here in the mix on the east side as quickly as you possibly can if this is the way that you like to gather your spice. More than anything else, D7 has a lot of free real estate for you to get to, so if you jump to E6 and it's already taken, then just go second route out to D7 because this is where you're going to start finding a lot of them. E8 is not going to be too bad as you do have 3 mediums here on the east side, not to mention the big cluster right next to you in D8. And if all things go bad and everyone has taken all of the real estate, E6, D7, D9, D6 also has a very comfortable chunk of island locations for you to be dropping stuff in. Of course, watch out and don't build your bases close to those PvP restricted zones because once again, you can get killed and your base can be destroyed if you get anywhere close to it. On top of those medium spice fields, you also have a few PvE and PvP caves. We have 2 here, one in D6, the other one down here in C3. These are represented by our PvE camps. Not to mention this one down here at B9. So you got 3 options if you like to go up there and you like to get the resources without having to worry about all the danger of getting in there. Now, please keep in mind that some of these, especially this one here at D6, is rather close to a capture point, which makes it a PvP location. There will be nasty PvP trolls waiting around there trying to hunt you down. So be very careful whenever you are approaching this cave in particular, because once again, you can be killed if you are not too safe. Now, as for our PvP caves, we got one in G7 and another one here in I7. This is really going to once again be showing how we are leaning very strong to the east and why that E6 island chain is going to be your #1 spot for the rest of the week. Which leads us into the POIs. What I can go ahead and tell you is that this one down here in C7 is a rather easy one, as well as D2. This is a cactus station. You don't find this on the method map yet. For some reason, they hadn't got it up there or they missed it. This is actually on the map. I have scanned it. I've been out there and went into it. It is a cactus farm station, so keep your eyes peeled on that one. As for the shipwrecks that are out here, you can go ahead and count them off. They are all, without a doubt, the walkway, because I've also flown to them as well this week and taken a deeper look and seen what they were. If you're looking into the PvP testing stations, first of all, you have G6. This one is the living quarters. Please be careful. It's a very difficult lab to be finishing up, as well as the forgotten cells, which you can find over there in G3. As for our resources, we have a lot of titanium on the field. I've already flown out here and taken a look at the G6 area. This is going to be a very, very hot area to go pick your tritanium and stravinium up this week. The reason I say that that is, there's not a lot of elevated nodes. This seems to be one of those flatter islands, which you can literally drive around and reach everything. Of course, once again, if you are on a contested server, you're going to want to be careful with this. And of course, with G7, you have a larger Stravinium, and you have another large one there sitting on G4 for the titanium. But if you want my advice, and you can build something quick and easy, I would just drop a base somewhere around the northern side of these islands, because these little rocks right here have quite a bit of Stravinium and titanium, and they are all accessible via your buggy and cutter array. You don't have to elevate in order to get your hands on them. Of course, if you are interested in that erythrite crystal, that's down here in C8. It's not on the map, but I know for a fact that's where it is resting and leading us into our large spice fields. Now, there is a large spice field that is not on the map just yet, which is out here at H2, which I've also scanned down. For some reason, it is not on one of the maps. I believe Method does have it on their map, though, so you might want to consult Method if you get lost and forget about the H2. But the sad truth is, this week, everyone, we only have 3 large spice fields to be dealing with, and as you can see, 2 of the 3 are situated on the eastern side of the map, which ties us down to trying to figure out exactly where the best location for us to be setting up this week. And as I've already told you, E6 is going to be my go-to spot. This is one of those close to the DMZ zone of the deep desert, and as you can tell, it has absolute access to just about everything that you can get your hands on. Of course, once again, don't forget about that H2 large spice field that's sitting over here. But what you are getting out of that E6 spot, if you can get out there fast enough, you can literally have access to all of these different resources that you can find out here. And also, without looking at the medium spice field, these are all stacked right here on this side of the map as well. So you have a lot of resources to be gathering, not to mention all the POIs that are just inside your grasp. And you got that large cave that's sitting right up there. Overall, if E6 is sucked up and you can't get in there, try to locate down here on D6 somewhere, or you could even possibly find yourself into D7. E8 is going to be a little bit testy because you do have a capture point that is sitting there, which is blocking a lot of your opportunities to grab stuff. And of course, D9, not such a bad option if you're going for medium spice fields, but as you can see, the further away from the large spice fields you are, the less you are going to be inclined to be getting out there and grabbing them. So E6, everybody, is exactly where you want to make sure you are trying to jump out to and get to as soon as the NA servers launch. Now, if you haven't, as always, been to the A row and you have a working ornithopter, please step your foot out into the deep desert, pick up your achievement, and pick up 180 free intel points every single week by completing each and every one of these labs that are out there. Not to mention that A2 is always a freebie ship with no NPCs in it, so you can literally jump out there without having to fight anything and get free blueprints as well as materials. But most importantly, make sure that you are grabbing your blueprints and intel points from every lab in the A column. And now, just in case you don't know exactly what you should be looting from these POIs, starting with the down ships, you have the highest rated chance to get some of the best weapons in the game, like the Perforator, the Pulse Knife and Sword, the Shellbuster, and the Regis Disruptor Pistol, which all come in handy in all situations, as they are all hard-hitting weapons and can definitely change the tide of war. Next, we take a look into the PvP caves, which is the best place to get your pin cushion set. If you're into light armor, the entire 5-piece set can be dropped from the PvP loot caves at a 7% chance. Add on top of that, that Regis triple shot repeating rifle, which is probably one of the most coveted weapons in the game. And circuit gauntlets as well as X-Core leggings don't really hurt the way to go out there and start digging into these caves either. So make sure that you're jumping out into the caves each week and getting your hands on that stuff as well. Moving down the line of seriousness, we have the large shipwrecks, which are my favorite place to go for my weapons because they usually respawn quite often and you're not randomly searching for the smaller ships. This also has the perforator, the pulse knife, and the pulse sword, as well as a shell buster and that disruptor pistol. The problem is they are dropping at a 7% chance, but the loot pool seems to be rather small. I tend to get my hands on the same thing over and over again, but either way, that Way of the Miser is something that you can collect. It's not a bad handgun either, but I would definitely recommend, if you are going for new weapons, all these large crash ships are great to be jumping into. Next, we have the PvE testing stations, which have quite a bit of stuff to be looting, but the loot pool is rather massive in my opinion, and it is giving you a chance to get that young Sparky MK6 as well as the replica pulse knife and the Holtzman shield, with the chance at the power harness as well. However, the loot table is so massive that it's almost next to impossible to be getting these things unless you're running these PvE labs on repeat. So keep that in mind. They are out there. If you do have a group of people that you can run around with, jump out there and do them regardless, but please keep in mind that your chances of getting those top S tier blueprints from this place are a little bit less than anything else, which doesn't make sense to me because they are actually rather difficult to run. Next, we have that PvP testing station area, which are probably the hardest things to get into and loot stuff from due to the amount of massive waves that you have to fight against. So going about it solo will be hard, but if you have a lot of friends or a group of people on your server that you like to run around with, it's not such a difficult task. Here you will find more of the defensive side of the game, as not only will you be able to get the young Sparky MK6, which is the best battery you can find in the game, but you also get that adaptive Holtzman shield, which will keep you safe a lot longer. Add on top of that the power harness, which is probably the best heavy chest piece that you can get into the game, and Hallex picks and the carterizer are not bad stuff either. And if you are lucky, you can also get your hands on a black market K28 las gun, which will help you eat through ships and people's bases a whole heck of a lot faster. And now to my favorite part of the show, giving thanks to all of you great supporters out there helping push this video deep into that YouTube algorithm and getting it out to new audiences so that we can share in the valuable information that Dune Awakening's Deep Desert has to offer every single one of us. Starting off to Uhtred99, bless the maker for the support, Uhtred. Your contribution keeps the spice flowing and the sand crawlers moving. Glad to have you in the siege. Next to Sinlock1313, much appreciated Sinlock. Mapping these dunes isn't easy work, but knowing the intel helps a fellow traveler make it all worth it. Stay hydrated out there and get rich, my friend. Next to Laren Robb, Happy New Year to you, Laren. To be your discovery of the year is a high honor. May your 2026 be filled with spice and your water stay cool, and may we discover many things to come. Next to Grimm's Place, the weather report. I love that. Glad the presentation is hitting the mark. Just trying to make sure no one gets caught in the Coriolis storm unprepared. Stay tuned. And to friend Ryan, Dune Radio? Now there's an idea. I'll keep broadcasting as long as you keep listening, my friend. Thanks for letting me be the soundtrack to your journey across the sands. And finally, to Circle of Owls. From one nerdbird to another, I salute you. May your path be clear of worms and your water still remain tight. High flight to you, my friend. And as always, I just want to once again express my deep gratitude to all of you taking time to share, like, and subscribe to these videos every single week. You guys are truly the reason why I do this, and without you, I could not bring myself to love this community so much. Keep up the good work, and remember, keep your eyes in the skies, and have a great day.